Well, now that Halloween is over, the yard's getting transformed into Christmas. I figured before we tear the haunt down, I'll give you guys kind of a behind the scenes peek description of each room. It's kind of a fun little thing to do to just show everybody what goes into each room. So that said, we've already started switching the church over to Christmas. Very Christmassy feel. But going into the haunt, first room we had was our Weeping Widow room. This room we made use of the effects with the candles again, which was a pain. We have to get a whole team to come in here and literally spend forever just turning on tea light candles one at a time. But this is the room for those who went through that had the Weeping Widow crying over her deceased husband. And it was kind of a fun entry as we were kind of going for the first half of the haunt being more in your head and then later going into the pop in your face. So once they moved past there, they ended up in the back room of the church where we had some people hanging out and playing with the Ouija board. So our actors are very good at just kind of mixing it up, asking people if they want to play with it or letting them know they're having trouble talking to their deceased relatives. The actors really made it this year. I feel like the rooms needed less actual props and more of the actor involvement. So moving forward, we'll be working more on just adding more detail to each room. Just focusing on detail work and relying on actors versus big props. Once they made it through this room, in this chair, there was a possessed girl playing with her dolls, but she was also talking to her friend Annabelle. So Annabelle was in here waiting for people to greet them. Hopefully you enjoyed her if you got to see her. But our actors in this room, they were playing really well with her, using her as a good prop, talking to her or about her when people went through. So it was kind of a cool room, another one of those in your head rooms. So bye Annabelle, sorry. So going forward, we made curtain after curtain after curtain through this hallway. I also want to mention that we added carpet to all the rooms. Well, most of the rooms. This was donated by a local carpet company. So it was really cool. Helped keep down on the dust, but it helped also give the feel of you're in a house. So as they made it through the curtains, they'd pop out and we had a light focused on the nun. So she's sitting there kind of popping down at people. Made a great scare. Once they popped out of there, they were faced with a levitating, possessed Reagan from The Exorcist. So we had a local fab shop that actually came in, fabbed up this piece. We were able to mount it, made it look like a good levitation. We added this fabric because we found fabric that matched the two different gowns that we would rotate in and out. And so what that happened to do was it made it where if you had it just barely hanging over, it blended in with the gown so you didn't see any of the apparatus underneath. Also in this room, in the corner, you had a priest. He was a big old priest covered in vomit. Reagan had already did her number, but he was still trying to save her and save those passing through. He also did double duty because we do deal with troublemaking people. And this girl sitting up on here is kind of vulnerable. So having a really big, beefy dude in here made it where people weren't going to mess with her. From here, they would exit the house and they made it to this backyard area. It was just kind of a makeshift in-between area. We had actors that would pop in and out of here, but it really was just leading you on and into the next area. Once they made it here, they were now in the morgue. This was a cool one as we had our doctor in here doing work. Some stuff people didn't realize during was that these are real cadaver bones, real human bones, real medical equipment, and also one of my new favorite props, a real embalming table. This thing was used for 60 years and I'm now the caretaker of it, so it's kind of cool. A lot of people get creeped out by it, grossed out by it. We really like it. So they leave here and they'd hit the zombie area. Another one of those kind of makeshift transition areas. We have a zombie here. In here, we have projections of zombies trying to get out. A lot of people actually thought there were real people behind here trying to push through, so that really worked out well. And as they made their way around, this is where our squeeze tunnel was. So this thing was completely inflated. You had to squeeze through. But the fun part here was the last minute I added this platform. And this blue light actually made it look like moonlight over here. But when it was on, it also kind of blinded you as you're coming forward. And then we had an actor up here who would actually pop down at you. Once you came through there, the squeeze tunnel was solid, so you had to really push through. And then you're hit immediately with strobe lights right in your face. Just a whole strobe lights, chains, kind of a really disorientating area. As you came around here, you got hit with another strobe light, more chains, more creatures. You come around here, more chains, more creatures, and more strobe lights. A really nice industrial one up there that really did its job. We had a hidden pop down window here, so an actor could pop down and scare people while they're focused on this. Also, to make this room, I really wanted to include sound. So we had a hidden speaker and we were playing just loud metal music as you pop through. So it just kind of helped with disorientating you, messing with your senses. So once they found their way around here, they came around. I also want to point out, you can't really tell now, it's been kicked around, but we added sawdust through here. The night before we were supposed to open, a big rain came through and this room got flooded. So I went and got sawdust, and actually I'm glad that happened because it really added to it, but it kept the dust down. So we're gonna add that to probably any room that's just on dirt next year. So coming around here, I'll probably use the flashlight. I have no lights on in here. But this is where our half pig, half human butcher was. And then also there was another one, which was my 9-year-old son, who was really in character. But this room was all lit up in red, gave the real vibe of like a butcher shop. Lots of props. We had stuff on the little oven. The butcher table. We had here the human grinder. We grind them. It's one of the props that our people made. The pig butcher who was in here made this prop, or at least added to it. We also had, what's not on here now because we did photos, is this cement block. So our actor in here had metal tip gloves that would throw sparks whenever he would grind on the block. So it was really good jump scare for people. He also made use of this, which you can actually see all the grinding marks, grinding his hands up and down here and just hitting on that, scaring people with those metal tip finger props. So this room was really a special one for him. He went and had a custom mask made, so invested into getting this room proper. This is one of the props that we got from a local haunt that closed down, and we went in and just bought their whole haunt. So from here it got pitch black, so a lot of people coming through, they're always bugged, feeling like spiders were on them or something. Well, here's your behind the scenes. We had thread hung everywhere. As you came around here, this is what my son calls our mannequin farm, but it was back to strobe lights, but they were set really low. So you had periods of darkness and some of these mannequins would move. There was actually another wall right here. I took it down yesterday as I was working to build out front for Christmas. But they'd make their way through. Mannequins everywhere. Like I said, one or two of them may have been real people, may have been moving around. So it really was nice having the strobe lights on slow so they'd see them, it would go black, all of a sudden they were in another spot. Making their way around here. This window here could be accessed from the back breezeway that I use to kind of repair stuff, but it was really easy for our actors that work the line. If they want to scare some people in here, they come down the breezeway and position up at this window because it's pitch black in here. We had no lighting, and they could pop out this window and scare people. More blackness, more strings. Came around here, we lit up all in a nice blue light, and we had spider webs everywhere. Right now, they're all tore down. You imagine having almost 3,000 people in total go through. The spider webs don't really hang like they should. They get knocked down, but in its prime, it looked great. They were all kind of hung more like this style, all the way down where you had to crawl under and really get involved in them. Once they passed through there, it was just a couple little minor frights. And then we had this guy who was greeting people as they turned this corner. Once again, there were 2 more walls here, but I took those down for building out front. But once you got to this point, there was an actor who would make you go this way. We have bodies underneath this walkway, red lights going up, red lights on him. And so we did have an opening this way. So if you weren't able to climb stairs, maybe you had a walker, you know, we have people come through with disabilities and we try to accommodate the best we can. So we made a bypass. But otherwise, you went this way to what was my wife's brainchild, her pride and joy. And that is the ball pit. Right now, it doesn't really look the part no more. We had 18,000 balls in here. I'd say most are still here, but not all of them. But we had a couple live clowns in here. The thing was about 2 feet deep, about up to that rail with balls. I've already took down one of the walls, once again, doing Christmas stuff. I built a Santa's workshop out there that uses projection, so I had to take that wall down to make that work. But they would go through here and make their way out. I'm not going through there. I had enough of that ball pit. I fell enough during it. We did it. Don't think we'll do it again. Everybody loved it, but it was really a pain and really a huge cost. If you want to look up what 18 to 20,000 balls look like, it's quite a bit what the cost is. So now we're starting our teardown process. So I wanted to get this done so you can kind of see. Even with Christmas coming, we still have coffins out front. I'm working to get those moved. I just need help. A lot of people didn't realize when they're passing through, these were actually used coffins along with the one inside the church. These have had several bodies in them. They were rentals. People would rent them and use them, and they outdid their lifespan. And I was able to be lucky enough to have some friends in the industry who hooked me up. Then somehow today I got to get up there, flip that cross over. The upside down cross really doesn't work with the manger and the pretty Christmas, but here we are. And those that don't know, yes, that is the cemetery. We are directly across from the cemetery. So for those who made it out, thank you. Appreciate you guys coming out. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. If you didn't make it out, hopefully you like this walkthrough. And then I will also be adding a video soon that is a full walkthrough of it in action with all the actors. And we're already excited and planning for next year. So stay tuned.